Here we oh, I don't know what happened to my voice there. Hey everybody, it's Jess, and today's video is going to be a combo vlog slash rant slash public service announcement, I guess you could say. So a lot of you probably know that I live in the Seattle area, and if you are not from the Pacific Northwest, you might think that it just like constantly like is just downpouring here all the time, just like rain. And that's a really common misconception, and typically that's not the case. Like, it drizzles here a lot. Sometimes it's not even so much rain as just this like weird mist that kind of floats around in the air. So it rains frequently, but it's usually just not much of anything. But even the, let me start over. Okay. So it rains frequently here, but not often super hard, except for the past like 4 or 5 days. We've had the remnants, the remains of a typhoon that was off the coast of Japan. The jet stream like sucked the remains of it here, and pretty much from Northern California like all the way into Canada has been getting hammered with really hard rain, and there's been like flooding, and in some places there's been like really high winds. There was a tornado in a coastal town in Oregon, which is so weird. And like, it's not unheard of for us to get tornadoes around here, but usually it's just like, oh look, a teeny little string of a funnel, and like maybe some shingles get pulled off some roofs and things like that. They usually really, in terms of damage, not much of anything happens. But this one was an F2, like it destroyed some buildings and cars, and it was, I don't think anybody was killed, thank goodness. Not sure about injuries, but I wouldn't be surprised if there were injuries, just like, because I've seen some like pictures and footage of the damage, and it was crazy. So anyway, so we've been getting hit with these crazy winds and rain, and sometimes it makes driving, you know, kind of dangerous and a little bit scary, especially if you are on the freeway, because if you've ever driven through even like a light rainstorm, if there's enough water on the freeway and enough cars, like they just kick up a lot of the water, and there's like a foggy mist that kind of hangs over the freeway. And then so you got that, and then if you add just like torrential rain and like really hard wind in there, like it can be pretty dangerous to drive around. And so my roommates and I on Saturday drove down to Eugene, Oregon, which is pretty much straight down I-5. And this storm has been coming up the I-5 corridor. And normally I would say, like, you know, nothing is important enough to get me to drive through a typhoon. But this was like one of the rare occasions that there actually was something important enough happening that no typhoon was going to prevent me from getting there. So, right about, and it was like rainy and fairly windy the whole way down there, but it didn't really get to be anything that we were concerned about, like as natives of the Pacific Northwest. Like, we're used to the rain, you know. A lot of people around here, weirdly enough, don't know how to drive in the rain, but my roommate was driving most of the way. I'm totally confident in his abilities to drive in the rain, you know, wasn't worried about it. But at one point out right around Woodburn, Oregon, it actually got scary. Like, we found the worst part of the storm at that point. And like, it was really scary. Visibility was really bad. Rain was just coming down in buckets. It was ridiculous. I have hardly ever seen rain like that in my life. And like, it was windy, and so I mean, visibility was just really, really poor. And the number of people driving around in those weather conditions without their headlights on was just astonishing. And I mean, we kept commenting on it literally the whole trip, on the way down and on the way back up. And it was just like, wow, you know, here's another stupid person driving in this without their headlights on. But especially like in those really, really torrential rains that like we so seldom get around here, and people aren't used to driving in conditions like that bad, like at all. And just, it was just astonishing. And like, I don't care if it is the middle of the day. Like, this was probably right around 3 o'clock in the afternoon or so, maybe 4, that we hit this section of the storm. And so, yes, it's the day. So, like, if it was sunny or even just like overcast but not even raining, no, you wouldn't necessarily need to have your headlights on. But in these conditions, you needed to have headlights on, and it was even hard to see the other cars that did have their headlights on. And like, so if there was a car without headlights, you really couldn't see it. And like, it seemed like at least 3 out of the 4 cars that were driving around with no headlights on were like white or silver. So they were like completely camouflaged, completely could not see them. And oh my goodness. So, and I told my roommates, I was like, okay, if we are in a wreck because of one of these fools and I get killed, I am totally coming back as a poltergeist to torment this person until they like get down on their knees, beg for my forgiveness, and apologize for being an idiot. Like, it is one of the stupidest things, and it happens all the time. And even around here in the, you know, just kind of average rain that we get on the freeway, it can be still kind of sketchy because of all the water that gets kicked up by all the cars, and it's misty and all that stuff. And just people all the time driving around with no headlights on. And particularly like my town, just kind of the section of town that I'm in, like, it's not uncommon for it to get foggy, like in the fall and the spring. And again, people driving around with no headlights on in the fog. Like, are you trying to get in a wreck? Do you have a death wish? What? Just what? Like, I don't understand. And I'm just one of those people that, like, it's actually rare for me to be driving around without my headlights on, because I'm in the habit of, when I get in the car and turn the key, I also turn on the headlights. My car doesn't have automatic headlights, but I just got myself into the habit of, I get in the car, the headlights come on. Even in like the bright daytime, and sometimes it can be like totally sunny and bright, and I'll be like, why do I have my headlights on? And then I'll turn them off. But I'm just in the habit of turning them on when I get in the car. And like, normally before like modern technology and modern medicine and all that stuff, people who were dumb enough to do things as stupid as drive around in typhoons without their headlights on, you know, natural selection would have got them. And they would have been totally like just wiped out, taken out of the gene pool. And honestly, okay, I don't like to get into controversial topics and issues on my channel, because I'm not here to try to start drama or anything. But honestly, I believe that in some ways, like, we as the human race have like gone too far, like in certain areas. And one of those is like we've, to an extent, kind of trumped evolution, if you want to, if I don't really know of a better way to put it. But we've gotten to the point with like all of our, you know, modern medicine and everything, that more people are living and people are living longer, which on the one hand is great. And if it wasn't for modern medicine, I definitely would not be alive right now to be filming this video for you. But we've also kind of trumped evolution in the sense that the stupid or the weak people are not being weeded out. And people complain all the time about, oh, like, society has just gone to hell and everything is terrible and blah, blah, blah. And in a lot of ways, I totally agree with that. Like, especially with this election that's happening this year, I'm terrified. And we took a wrong turn somewhere. Probably many wrong turns somewhere, just as a society. But, like, back, you know, back caveman times, okay, let's say, people who did stupid things back then, they died. They died. And so, like, it's kind of just the whole survival of the fittest. The strong ones survive, the weak ones do not. And we've just, like, people complain all the time about how many stupid people there are out there. And just in general, as a society, we've gotten so dumb, and and I agree, I totally agree. And there's, you know, driving around in a typhoon without your headlights on is a perfect example of how, as a society, we've just gotten dumber. Like, and how, like, Darwin just needs to, like, reach out and snatch some of these people. And that, maybe that sounds mean and horrible, but you know what? like I said, I don't want to end up dead because, you know, John Doe or Jane Doe over here can't figure out how to turn their headlights on in a storm. And, you know, what did I do to deserve, you know, getting seriously hurt or injured because someone else is too stupid enough to flip a switch in their car? Like, so please, I don't care where you live, where you are from, if conditions are even kind of questionable when you're driving, just turn your damn headlights on. It's not that hard. And it's like common sense, and that's another thing you always hear people say, like, common sense is not so common. You're right, it's not. And that's another place where somewhere along the way we took a wrong turn as a society, where just stuff that you would think just makes complete sense, and just so many people can't do it. They're just incapable of it. And so yeah, that is my story about why I was driving. No, I didn't really explain why I was driving through a typhoon, and I don't really want to explain why we were driving through a typhoon, because really it was for a purpose that sucked, but also was a purpose that was very important to me. And so it was for someone very important to me. And so, yeah, it was, if it had been much worse, I probably would have said, like, maybe we shouldn't do this. But we made it, we're safe, we're fine. But it was actually, like, scary there for a while. And, like, almost to the point where I was like, maybe we should just pull over until this passes. But we made it, we're fine. But just please, like, it's so dumb. It's so astonishingly stupid how many cars. I should have gotten video of it. But I literally just like, I had a death grip on like the door, and Cosmo, he was in the back seat with me, and I'm like, oh, you know, and just like, no, just, oh my gosh, it was, yeah, it was scary. I really should have at least gotten video of just how many people were driving around in that without their headlights on. But, you know, priorities, people. So yeah, that is my public service announcement / rant / you know, normally I wouldn't drive through a typhoon, but I did because I needed to. Someone else needed me to. So there. So yeah, but just please, for the love of all things holy, for the love of whatever deity you might believe in or not believe in or whatever, just for the sake of other people on the road and yourself, turn your headlights on. Is that so much to ask? Apparently it is a lot to ask, but just please do it. Okay, rant over. I hope you guys had a wonderful weekend. Bye.